welcome back to Tony Northeastern, and what we're going to be doing today is the start of this fiddle yard. I'm hoping to get between 8 and 10 lines of tracks going down to the very edge of this baseboard. Now I've repainted the baseboard due to the last couple of years it's been used as a workbench and storage, anything basically, and there's glue marks and everything, so I had to sand it down and paint it white, and I've used PVA in with the emulsion as well, so it'll seal the MDF. Next thing to do is to plan how I'm going to do it, because space is tight. It's roughly between this point here and to the far end is just over 2 meters. All the point work has got to be finished by the time it reaches these supports, otherwise I won't going to get my 6 coach trains into the sidings. So I've only got 3 foot area starting from this turnout here. So straight away I'm going to use curve streamline points, so hopefully I'll get 1, 2, 3 before I start using these medium radius right hand turnouts. So by the time I get to here, I should have on the first set of turnouts at least 4 to 5 tracks. Now if I can achieve the same there, then I'll be happy, even if I get 8 or 9 tracks. Okay, I've made a start and I've laid the tracks out, and I've put a few points in place already. It looks like I'm going to get roughly about between 9 and 10 tracks, which is a couple of tracks more than what I thought I was going to get. So looking at it from this view, you see that it's going to work out, I think. So there's still a bit more planning to do, and I'll show you how far we've got at the moment. As you can see, I've made full use of the bend, putting in 3 left hand turnouts, 1, 2 and 3 where that truck's just sitting on. So by doing that I've gained straight away 4 roads before I even come onto the straight, and so that's going to work out quite well. I have got a left turn out to go in that gap there, and another left turn out there, and a right hand turn out there. So the first 5 tracks are virtually in place, according to a plan. Basically the plan, it's not written down, it's just making it up as I go along. So if I end up with 10 tracks, that's a Brucey bonus, but looking at it at the moment, it looks like it will probably happen. Anyway, most of the work at the moment is being done underneath the baseboards, because when all the other baseboards were done, I put in the buzz bars as I went, and I left this middle board out because I was in a hurry to complete the works elsewhere. So underneath the baseboard I have been putting in a pair of cables to run the fiddle yard, as it were, which will be switched, so I can, while I'm running the layout, I don't have to have the tracks live in the fiddle yard. And not only that, if there's locos in the fiddle yard with sound on them, I don't want them to be making any sound while they're in the fiddle yard. Because at the moment I switch the ECOS on and the sound just comes alive everywhere on the layout. So that's one of the bonuses of having a switch wire. Anyway, this is the main cables for the fiddle yard, and I've already got dropper wires in ready for the points that I've put in already. Now over in the corner there is a blue and white cable that's going to feed the upper baseboard when it's fitted, because that'll be for the South Shields terminus station. So most of the work I've been doing recently is drilling all these holes into the timber supports to feed the cables through. Yeah. Now, the baseboard is made of 12mm MDF with 75mm by 20mm thick timber as side supports, and 40 by 20 as the main supports going across. I've been Now then, the baseboard rails going across are roughly 300mm apart. So I've got quite a few supporting rails going across the baseboard, keeping the MDF flat. Because as you know, MDF can move, warp, twist, and do all sorts of things which can disturb and displace track. But if you glue it down, glue it and screw it, it shouldn't move. So that's worked out fine. Okay, what I'm going to show you now is how to mark out a turnout for drilling holes. Now then, if you're using the electrofrog points, you need to mark out for 4 holes. 1 for your point motor, 2 for your power feed, and 3 for your switch frog feed. So basically you get your point and look to see if it's roughly in line where you want it, which is, that looks about right. Now what I do is I just put a little mark there on the edge of each of those switches, if you like, and then the next one in the middle of the 2 tracks there, and in the middle of the 2 tracks there. And then when you take the point off, that should leave you a rough idea where to put the hole. We'll come to that in a minute. So, okay, the next hole will be here and here. That's where you're going to put your live feeds across the rails there, which feeds this point, this part of the point up to that point there, and which feed that rail and that rail. Now this piece, the actual frog, if you mark into the corner of sleeper here, 4th one in, and to the back of the sleeper there, that would give you a hole position for your feeding wire. So there's a close-up. You can just see the feed wire sticking out there, and it's normally located in that position there. So if you mark the sleeper there and there, and I've marked the sleeper underneath there for your feeds, and we've already marked the position for the point. So now we can remove our point, and we're left with 4 marks there, 2 marks there, and 2 marks there. So where this one and this one meet, it's going to be there where your hole is. So that's easy. And the next thing to do is join up the dots that we've got there, which will then give you a position where to drill for your point motor. Smack in the middle of there. Right, so we shall drill that. 10mm drill for this one. 4mm drill for this one. And a 6mm drill for this one. I always put a little bit bigger of a hole in there just to allow for a little bit of movement on the point when it goes back in, because once it's fixed there and the cables go through there and there, you need a little bit of play just in case you're slightly adrift. Right, so then we'll hoover it all up. Right, so that's ready for putting the point back in. Okay, as you can see, I have wired up the electrofrog point, the red being positive, the black being negative, and this wire here is the switch wire for the frog. Okay, so now you've just got to remember to take the tabs out of here if you're doing these to the electrofrog points. And the reason being is this now it has to become the switch wire for the point motor, which goes on this end here. Okay, now we shall put the point in place. Hopefully all the cables will go in. Okay, then we shall clip the point together. Goes in there nicely. Give that a bit of a movement, help the cable settle, and there we are. Okay, as you can see, the hole is in line. Don't know if you can see that very well, but the hole is roughly in line with the point motor when it comes through the baseboard. Okay, so I shall crack on and let's see. Okay, I've laid a few tracks down side by side and lengthways, and by measuring from where the points start at this end and where the tracks finish at that end, at the end of the baseboard there, and the baseboard ain't going to be long enough to accommodate these trains, because the length of these trains is nearly 2 meters. 6 Pullmans and an engine works out just over 1.9 meters. So if you allow for a buffer stop, you're looking at 2 meters. So to get round that, I'm having to extend this baseboard by another 150 millimeters. So I'm going to play it safe and call it 170. So on these 5 tracks on this side, I'll be able to accommodate the bigger trains, and the first 5 tracks on that side will be freight trains and mixed goods or whatever. So I have made a start on the little extension, which is not very big. It roughly works out at 170 mil. So that will still leave me in this gap here at least 400 mil or 450mm to walk past or to walk through. So I shall crack on with the extension. Added the extension using some spare timber I had left over. It's around about 68mm by 20, and that's about 30mm by, that's around about 30mm by 20 again, and it's all glued. Put some glue on it. I put some PVA glue on it, and it's just a case of putting the top on. And I've made the MDF top. It's not a lot, but 170mm might just be enough to get the 6 coaches plus the engine in on the far side 5 lines. So we'll wait to see about that. So I shall screw that down and then sand it off, paint it, and then we can continue with the track laying. Okay, here's a quick look on how I do my dropper wires. Here's the fish plates which we use to join our tracks together. I've already fluxed the fish plates and they've all got a little tiny bit of solder on them already, and I've already annealed the dropper wires themselves and bent up the corners just slightly. So what we do is just dip that in the old flux, get a little tiny bit of solder, hold it on the centre of your fish plate, and there you go. Just try and get your dropper wire in the centre of your fish plate. Just makes it easier for when you connect the tracks together if your hole is centralised to your fish plates and your dropper wires. Okay, I just thought I'd quickly show you that because, as you can see, I've got quite a few to do. Because there's quite a few required on the fiddle yard themselves. Right, let's have a look at the fiddle yard, how we're getting on there. Okay, just a quick tip on keeping your tracks nice and straight when pinning them to the board. I've set this up so it's 32mm from inside the rail to inside the rail on that side, and I've done the same here. I've placed a straight edge against the sleepers and I've already pinned it here and here. So basically I'm just holding that square, and every 100mm or so just holding the straight edge while you put the pin in. See, it's marking out each position and the track doesn't move. So, and that's what keeps your track nice and straight. Just a quick tip. Okay, here we are at the end. That's had the little extension put on, and what I've done with the end here, I've used a bit of cork and glued it to a piece of timber on the edge, and that saves me buying loads of buffer stops. And if you look closely, it's just at the right height for the buffers to hit the cork. So it's the same cork that I used for the stone walling. So I came up with that little idea last night, just to progress it on a little bit. So as you can see, 170mm extension is not a lot. It's just barely the width of that brake van there, 170mm. But over the longer length may just be enough to get my 6 coaches plus an engine. But we'll see that when the whole fiddle yard is finished. So we shall leave it there. Hope you enjoyed what you've seen, and we'll see you again next week.